Hey everyone, Miss Jack here, and today we're going to talk about the law of conservation of mass. So go ahead and get out your notebooks or a sheet of paper and follow along with me. So if I write it, you write it down too. So we're going to start with our title, Law of Conservation of Mass. All right, that's going to be our title for today. So what is the law of conservation of mass? Well, what it states is that mass cannot be created nor destroyed. All right, so, does it fit? Yes, okay. So it cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be, transformed. Okay, so what does that even mean anyway? Well, if you have a cake that you're going to bake and you add some eggs and you add some oil and then you add the cake mix it all up, then you bake the cake. Then you get your final product. So now you have your final cake. Okay, so if we started with, let's say, 1 gram of eggs, 1 gram of oil, and let's say 5 grams of cake mix, how much of the final cake would we have? Well, this mass didn't go anywhere, right? We didn't make it disappear. It didn't evaporate. And even if it did, that would still be part of the mass. But right here, we're talking about just the cake that we started with, whatever we mixed in, and our final product. So what would our final mass be for our final cake? We would bring down the pluses, turn our arrow to equals, and we would now have, 7 grams of our final cake. That's all it is that our mass on whatever we started with is going to equal the mass that we end with. So we also call this the RAP. RAP. R-A-P. So what does that even stand for? Well, these are going to be our reactants, or kind of like our ingredients. Reactants, arrow, makes our final product. So basically, law of conservation of mass means that we're going to be equal on both sides of our arrow. So let's try a formula, just so that we're clear. So you can just write underneath what we just wrote down here. And our first formula we're going to look at is 2H2 plus O2, 2H2O. Yay, our water. Okay, so if we start with 10 grams of this, and then we also have 4 grams of that, what are we going to end with? Remember, what do we write for our arrow? Equals, bring down the plus. We're going to have 14 grams of our final product. Good job. Let's try another one. We'll go ahead and erase this as well. Okay, so if we have CaCO3 yields CaO plus CO2. Now, if we have 23 here and 16 here, so now this looks a little bit different, but it's just flipped, right? So we still have our reactants is equal to our products when we're talking about mass. So we'll bring down the arrow, bring down the plus, and now what do we write for the arrow? Our equals. So same thing, this and this is equal to 39 grams. Exactly. Same thing, it's just flip-flop, right? Okay, let's try one more, and then I think you are going to be a master of law of conservation of mass. Okay, here we go. Remember, write it with me, okay? C plus 2H2 yields CH4. CH4. There we go. All right, so we have 6 grams of carbon, and we have 19 grams of our product. What are we missing? So let's go ahead and write it in. I'm going to put a blank there just so I remember that's what I'm missing. Bring down our plus. What do we write for our arrow? Equals. So now, how do I find this missing number? Well, I'm adding here, so I want to get rid of this and isolate our variable, just like in math class, right? So how do I do that? Okay, if I'm adding 6 on this side, to get rid of it, I'm just going to subtract 6 grams. Then that will cancel that out. That will equal 0. But I got to do whatever I do to that side, I have to do to the other side because we are equal on both sides. So 19 minus 6, what's our missing number? 13 grams is our missing number. So that's basically it. Just make sure whatever your reactants are, they equal your products. So make sure you bring down the plus signs where it's needed. And then what do we write for the arrow? The equal signs. And then remember, you're just trying to balance both sides of the arrow to make sure that they are equal because of our law of conservation of mass. The mass has to be there either on one side or the other. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.